Prince Harry is known for his commitment to the environment, often reciting speeches to reflect his passion. Despite this, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have previously been called hypocritical for actions that seem out of step for anybody passionate about protecting the environment. In particular, many have noticed the amount of flights taken by the Duke of Sussex, with his recent trip to Europe sparking additional concern. Earlier this month, Harry flew from the US to London, before taking a flight to Germany for the Invictus Games. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who joined her husband in Germany, then reportedly flew to Portugal for a romantic escape before making a trip back home to their 2 children. In all, the Duke took 5 flights, which totaled an eye-watering 18,000 miles. 2018. Harry and Meghan's Australian tour here. Express. Co.uk looks at the 7 times Harry has lectured about the environment. Harry turned his focus away from the Invictus Games on the 7th day of his Australian royal tour in 2018. The Duke of Sussex visited the Kagari, Fraser Island Forest to the Queen's Commonwealth Canopy, which is a network of forest conservation initiatives. He said that the project was committed to raising awareness of the value of indigenous forests and to saving them for future generations, stating that without trees and forests we don't survive. In his dedicated speech, he said, "It is a symbiotic relationship and one that so many people still fail to realize." Speaking on what the public can do, he added, "It is up to us now to protect this paradise together, not just because it looks beautiful, but because it is an essential part of our existence and will continue to be for our children and their children's children." 2018. Harry's university speech. Prince Harry delivered a speech to the University of the South Pacific campus in Suva in 2018. In its 50th anniversary year, Harry congratulated the university for its achievements in the battle against climate change. The Duke of Sussex launched 4 new Queen Elizabeth Commonwealth scholarships for students from the Caribbean and Pacific regions, which will support students to study climate change. He said, "After all 60% of its 2.4 billion population are under the age of 30, you will be the ones most affected by the global challenges that face us all, but you are the leaders who are creating the solutions. One of the greatest challenges is undoubtedly climate change, and all of you living here are confronted with this threat in your daily lives. You are actually experiencing changing weather patterns, ferocious cyclones and rising sea levels, particularly in places such as Tuvalu and Kiribati. You've been living with this for many years, way before the world actually started talking about it. That's why I am proud to launch today the new Queen Elizabeth Commonwealth scholarships for students from the Caribbean and Pacific regions." July 2019. Meghan and Harry's Instagram statement. In July 2019, Harry and Meghan called for action on climate change, insisting that we should all do our part. In a statement posted on their official Instagram account, the couple wrote, "There is a ticking clock to protect our planet. With climate change, the deterioration of our natural resources, endangerment of sacred wildlife, the impact of plastics and microplastics, and fossil fuel emissions, we are jeopardizing this beautiful place we call home, for ourselves and for future generations." The couple continued, "Let's save it. Let's do our part. Environmental damage has been treated as a necessary byproduct of economic growth. Only now are we starting to notice and understand the damage that we've been causing. With nearly 7.7 billion people inhabiting this earth, every choice, every footprint, every action makes a difference." 2019. Harry's interview plea. In 2019, Harry was featured as part of Meghan's edition of British Vogue. In an interview with conservationist Dr. Jane Goodall, Harry revealed that he and Meghan had decided on 2 kids maximum. Harry noted that his increasing concerns for the future of the Earth was the reason behind his and Meghan's decision, voicing that the Earth was only borrowed. 2019. Harry's speech on children's involvement in fighting climate change. Prince Harry previously said that the science on the climate crisis is undeniable as, led by Greta Thunberg, the world's children are striking to force action. While in Botswana, Harry was present to help create a new forest habitat after decades of deforestation. Speaking on the banks of the Chobe River, Harry made a reference to the speech by the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, at the UN General Assembly. Harry said, "This week, led by Greta, the world's children are striking. There's an emergency. It's a race against time and one which we are losing. Everyone knows it. There's no excuse for not knowing that. And the most troubling part of that is I don't believe there is anybody in this world who can deny science, undeniable science and facts. Science and facts that have been around for the last 30, maybe 40 years, and it's only getting stronger and stronger." 2020. Prince Harry supports Water Bear. In 2020, Prince Harry called for doing, not talking in the process of tackling environmental issues and the climate crisis. The Duke, speaking as the president of Africa Parks, voiced his support for a Netflix-style platform for climate documentaries. In a conversation which was aired in December 2020 on the Water Bear network, he said, "For me it's about putting the DOS behind the says, and that is something that Water Bear is going to be doing, capitalizing on a community of doers. There's a lot of people that say, but this is about action. 2022. Harry's UN speech in July 2022. Harry used a speech at the United Nations to call out what he described as a global assault on democracy and freedom. During his keynote speech in New York City, which marked Nelson Mandela International Day, Harry listed the dangers of climate change, the coronavirus pandemic and the war in Ukraine. Watched on by wife Meghan, Harry said, "We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe. Climate change wreaking havoc on our planet, with the most vulnerable suffering most of all. The few, weaponizing lies and disinformation at the expense of the many, and from the horrific war in Ukraine to the rolling back of constitutional rights here in the United States. We are witnessing a global assault on democracy and freedom, the cause of Mandela's life." In the passionate speech, Harry added, "As I speak, our world is on fire, again. These historic weather events are no longer historic. More and more, they are a part of our daily lives, and this crisis will only grow worse."